Now, the government is making a big push for electric vehicles, with Finance Minister Heng Swee Keat announcing several incentives for the use of cleaner engine technologies.
For both public health and climate change reasons, we should progressively phase out the use of ICE vehicles. We'll set a long-term strategic goal for Singapore to achieve this. Our vision is to phase out ICE vehicles and have all vehicles run on cleaner energy by 2040.
To that end, Minister Heng announced several measures to make EVs a viable option. First, the vehicular emissions scheme will be extended to light commercial vehicles. Second, an early adoption incentive scheme will be rolled out for EV buyers from 2021 to 2023. It will offer rebates capped at $20,000 per vehicle. Third, the road tax for EVs and some hybrids will be revised to be less punitive. And lastly, Singapore will expand the EV charging infrastructure significantly from 1,600 points now to 28,000 by 2030. But will this be enough to make you switch to an electric vehicle? Joining me now is senior transport correspondent Christopher Tan. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Olivia.
Hi. So, Christopher, what was your first impression when Minister Heng announced these measures, as well as the ambitious goal of having all vehicles run on cleaner energy by 2040? That's just in 20 years. How realistic is that?
Well, I think for the deadline or for the target, I think it's a bit unrealistic because we have about 1 million vehicles on the road now and still growing year on year. And to achieve the target, you have to be replacing 50 to 60,000 of them every year, each year.
Wow.
Yeah. And as to my reaction to Mr. Heng's announcement, I thought, wow, and it's about time too.
But what challenges do you foresee, maybe in the realm of public charging infrastructure? Because there are only 1,600 charging points in Singapore.
Yes, and he said that we would build 28,000 by 2030. Even that is insufficient, because if you want to have the entire population move over to electric vehicle, if we understand his goal to be, on face value, that to convert all 900 over 1,000 vehicles to electric, then we will have to have a lot more charging points, right? I mean, if it's just one-to-one, easily we will need 900,000 to 1 million charging points, right?
I see. What other challenges do you expect in implementing all these measures?
The thing about electric vehicles adoption is that people must want to have them. And the reasons why people are not taking them up, in Singapore at least, there are many reasons. One would be the shortage of model choices. There are not many choices that people can pick from. And the reason for that is also a chicken and egg, right? Because if the environment is not suitable or not seen to be very encouraging for electric vehicles, the dealers or the manufacturers won't offer these models here in Singapore. And if you don't have that, then people don't have a choice to buy. Right now, we have a handful of them, maybe around a dozen of them. Most of them are quite pricey. Even the mass market models like the Hyundais are like 20%, 25% costlier than an equivalent combustion engine model. So you have the price barrier, right? And then you have shortage of charging infrastructure. And then you have the uncertainty over perhaps the long-term durability of such vehicles. We have seen in our phones and our laptops how batteries behave, right? They don't always hold their charge for a long time. When I say a long time, I mean over many years. And we tend to hold our cars for, if we want to make a good economic sense, we hold them for 10 years. How would the battery behave over the course of 10 years? Right. Would they be able to retain as much charge as they would on day one?
Yeah.
Verdict is still out.
Fantastic points. Yeah, fantastic points. But so do you think that the new measures are sufficient to address these pain points, all the gaps and the problems that you just mentioned?
They will address some of them, but not all of them.
Right.
Yes. and I think it's stepping in the right direction. One little thing about the whole announcement that kind of jars a little would be the lump sum tax component. This lump sum tax component is to make up for the foreseeable drop in fuel excise duty should people convert to electric cars.
Yep.
I think it's a valid concern, because excise duty from fuel sales amount to nearly $1 billion a year. It's not a small change. It's quite a lot of money. But I think it could have been addressed differently. I think if we wanted to encourage people to adopt or move away from combustion engines, the people who do the adoption to make the first moves should not be penalized. In fact, the people who don't move, maybe you should think of ways to nudge them along. So one way would be to increase the excise duty for fuels, right? I mean, in that way, you have a push and pull. Right now, we have a sort of a push and push away.
I see. Well, Christopher, thank you so much for your time. That was Christopher Tan, Senior Transport Correspondent for the Straits Times. He spoke to industry players for their reactions on these incentives as well, and you can read all about that at straitstimes.com.